Dear sister, hop in. Ride with me to work. Got something to share with you. I was thinking about my mother a few days ago, and she passed. Now, she passed at 62. And I was thinking about her and the story she told me, probably when she was 60. She went on a vacation. She was retired, so she went on vacation with a group called the Retired Ladies Club, that they put together. And they would go to lunches and go to dinners together and spend time. And I remember she was telling me, she said, you know what, I want to go on this vacation. Me and the ladies club want to go on this vacation. I said, all right, Mom, where y'all going? She said, we going to, I think they went to Costa Rica. And she was so excited about it, and they went on to Costa Rica. When she got back, she was telling me, she said, I got to tell you this story. And she was so excited about it. I said, go ahead, Mom, tell me your story. She said, son, we went to a dinner and we decided that we were all going to dress in white that night. She said, and my outfit was so pretty. I said, I know it was, Mom. She said, no, it was beautiful. And I kept on wondering, she was never into like saying stuff like that. So I was wondering like why she is pressing that this thing is so beautiful. And she said, we went to dinner, and she said we were enjoying dinner, and a guy came up to us, and he was doing excursions, and he said, do you ladies want to go mountain climbing? And they all looking at each other weird, like, you kind of see us together. You kind of see that we're having dinner, we're dressed in white. So they're thinking, okay, maybe he's talking about tomorrow, and they're like, oh, let's schedule it for tomorrow, and this and that. So the guy says, no, tonight. And they're like, oh, no, we're not going tonight. Look at us. And my mom said, something in her said, you need to do this. So my mom stands up in front of all the girlfriends and says, I'm doing it. And they're like, oh, so you're going to go back and change and all that? She said, no. And they're looking at her like, you just going to do this in your outfit? She said, yes. She said, Christian, I was so dirty. She says, I climbed the mountain. She said, I got to the top. She said, I was filthy from my neck down to my toenails, son. And she said, I was so happy. And then she started crying, telling me the story. I'm going to try not to cry while I'm telling y'all this story. But she said, I was so happy, son. And I said, why, Mom? And she paused and she looked at me. She said, because it's the first thing I ever did for myself. And it was a pause, just like now. She said, this is the first time I ever did something for myself. She says, I got married to your father. I love your father with all my heart. My dad passed at 59, probably 4 years before my mom did. She said, I loved your father. I gave your father everything. I took care of him. She said, then your sister was born, then you were born, and y'all were my life. She said, y'all were my life, and I gave y'all everything I had. I worked. And every, my mom never missed anything. She wouldn't come to my football games because she was scared to see me get hurt. But she never missed anything. She was always at everything, always supportive, super mom. And she said that this is the first time she chose herself. And she said, that's why I did it in my outfit and everything. She said, I wanted finally at 60 years old to do something that I didn't think about, that I didn't ponder about, and it was for myself. And she said, I was so filthy and I was happy. And I never, ever forgot that. 2 years later, excuse me, y'all, it got me. 2 years later, I'm eulogizing my mother. And I was thinking about, like, what would I say? Like, what do you say to eulogize your mother? And I couldn't figure it out until that morning. And I'm walking into this church, and something hit me. It was a scripture that said, Sarah died. Sarah died. And then it came to me that a lot of people talk about Abraham. For some of y'all that are religious or Christians, the scripture talks about Abraham and how he was the father of the faith and the father of many nations. And it said that he would have children as many as the stars of the sky and the sands of the sea. That means that they were uncountable. And and that he would grow this great nation. And we've often grew up hearing about Abraham and all this, but then you grow up enough to realize that there's no way a man can birth something that great without a woman. And in Bible times, the woman wasn't never mentioned. Women weren't honored, so you never mention them. But when I thought about Sarah and I thought about my mom and her eulogy, something told me that's what you teach. Sarah died. Sarah, this woman who was ignored but birthed many nations. And then I sat down a few months after the eulogy and I started penning a book called The Soul of Sarah. Go to christianwinters.com if you're interested. christianwinters.com if you're interested in getting that book. But I wrote the book called The Soul of Sarah. And what God was showing me was that women have two wombs. One in her body, one in her head. Your womb is also here too. And whatever you take in this ear, you begin to germinate and you begin to grow in your mind. This is what makes a woman a powerful gift, sisters. Is that you have a womb right here and you can create anything. You can take something from nothing. It's the same way when you lay down with a man and you make a baby. He gives you a seed. I think I remember writing in the book 3,000th of a milliliter. That's what it was. 3,000th of a milliliter is the size of a seed that a man gives you. And then 9 months later, 10 months later, you give him a baby with arms and legs and eyes and a heart and kidneys and lungs and every organ and everything that child needs to grow and thrive and be. And a man gives you a seed that small. It's not to say that the man is insignificant, but it's to say how significant you are as a woman to be able to take something so small and give life from it. And I realized something, that not only do you do that with your body, as a woman, you also do that with your mind. This is why I believe that a woman has to be the most protected creation ever. Because a woman is the gateway. You, my sister, you're the gateway to life. And nothing, absolutely nothing can get in this world without coming through the gate of a woman.